From the Dallas On Air studios in beautiful Dallas, Texas, this is Fulfillment right here on DallasOnAir.com. And now here's your hosts, the Vegabomber PJ Dunn and the film samurai Carlos Salinas.
All right, welcome. It's Thanksgiving time, Carlos.
Yes, I got my stomach ready.
Yeah.
Working out. Right
Yeah.
Lose as much weight as I can, so pack that food in.
That's right. You got to get your fat pants ready. And if you guys don't know what the fat pants are, that's the pants that have the little string that you can tie. That way it's elastic. The waistband, it can expand and get bigger because, you know, your gut's going to get bigger during this time. And then you want to go to sleep after that. Isn't that right?
Watch the Cowboy game.
Watch the Cowboy game and then go to sleep. That's exactly right. So now you know we're definitely in Dallas and we're talking about the Cowboys.
Fall asleep during the Cowboy game if it's a blowout.
Yeah, right. Or we could be falling asleep. Absolutely. Well, welcome to this Thanksgiving edition, if you will. And what we're going to do is tell you about the moments in cinematic history that we're the most thankful for as our special section. But before that, you know what we have to do first? First, we have to get into the box office economics. So if you're watching for the first time, this is where we tell you what people are spending their money on for the past weekend, as this weekend's tally is still being doled out because this is Sunday and this is still that. So for the last week, the week of 11/15/2019 to 11/17/2019, we'll start from the bottom. Oh, boy. It's a Christmas movie. Last Christmas is at the number 5 ranking. It's $6.5 million. And this tells us a little bit something about this time of year, doesn't it, Carlos?
Cheesy movies.
Cheesy movies.
Yeah.
Don't even have Thanksgiving yet, but we got a Christmas movie already before Thanksgiving. Now, here's something interesting this week, Carlos. Positions 2, 3, and 4 are separated by just a couple of $1,000.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah. So number 4 is that fun flick that we're all going to see, the Home Alone in the fire station, Playing with Fire at $8.3 million. Playing with Fire. John Cena and the crew. Now, just a little bit better. Not much, just a little bit better. At the number 3 position, Charlie's Angels with $8.4 million that it's drug in so far. Okay. And then, Charlie's Angels, right? I don't even know. Well, anyway, we'll save that. For position 2, Midway, because we had to take advantage of Veterans Day, $8.5 million. So 2, 3, and 4 are just within a few $1,000s of each other. That's your middle. But your number 1 movie, dethroning Joker, dethroning last week. I think it was, what was the new one that came in last week? Was it the was it Terminator? Not Terminator, but there was one other one that came in, and of course it slips my mind at this exact moment. But number 1, folks, is Ford v Ferrari with a whopping $31.5 million opening weekend.
Love it.
What do you think of that, Carlos?
I love it. I'm glad it made money. I was wondering if there was an audience for this because it's about car racing, and I've seen comments, car racing, it's boring. You just go around and around a track. No, it's more than that. It's deserving of that.
Absolutely.
You mean there's right turns too?
Crashes.
You betcha.
Yeah.
What do you think, hey Zach? What do you think about this big takeover all of a sudden by a car movie?
No surprise. I mean, basically, first of all, there's nothing out there, so they're really taking advantage of an open weekend.
Yeah. But the Midway, the history buffs.
No, it's a Roland Emmerich history film. Come on,
Asterisk.
And I mean, Last Christmas. Come on, you can sit home and watch Hallmark movies with this, and that there's nothing out there. And like I said, this was going to take advantage of a film that you needed to be seen on the big screen, and I'm sure you guys are going to get into that as you get into this. So, like I said, it's going to be, I think, worth that ticket price on that. So, yeah, not a surprise.
That's right. So, money-wise, what people are spending their money on, if you're one of those people that just wants to know, the pick here evidently is Ford versus Ferrari, and I would say that's not a bad deal. All right. So
Charlie's Angels only hit number 3 because if you don't like Charlie's Angels, you don't like feminism.
No. Yes.
No, it's because no one even knew about this movie. Did you know about this?
I heard about it, but I thought it was just like a joke or something.
I didn't hear anything
An
about
Onion
this
article,
film.
right?
I heard nothing about this film.
Yeah, it was very badly.
I didn't even know it was
promoted.
Elizabeth Banks behind it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's right. That's right. Well, something is afoot there.
It looked terrible.
And yeah, it looked
From the
terrible.
trailer I saw it looked.
Yeah.
It was not for me.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go see it, much like I wasn't going to go see. Well, we'll talk about that as well. So since we're trying to segue into the next segment, why don't we just go there, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to go to now the picks of the week. So real quickly, this is what this is. I'll tell you the films that are just now coming out, and then we'll pick which one we think we would go spend our money on. So this is that pre-thought before the box office economics. So 3 films that we're looking at, and there's a few more, but 3 of note is 21 Bridges, Frozen 2, yep, they made a second one, and A Beautiful Day A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which still is going to confuse me with Won't You Be My Neighbor, because that's the second line of it. Well, anyway, we'll talk about that as well. So let's just start at the top. 21 Bridges. This is what this one is. This is the only R-rated film in this bunch. It is a drama, crime, action film. It's an hour and 39 minutes. So that's good. It's the shortest one of the 3. The director is Brian Kirk. I think we all know him from Game of Thrones and Great Expectations and Luther. And it stars none other than the Black Panther himself, Chadwick Boseman, Sienna Miller, and, of course, Peter Parker's favorite boss, J. Jonah Jameson. J.K. Simmons is in this film. So 21 Bridges, this is apparently synopsis-wise about a cop that's pretty much saying, if you want to go through the 21 bridges, you're going to have to go through me to get there. So we have to imagine that it's that typical crime drama.
Some
The
cops are murdered.
Cops are murdered,
So
and
they
you call
shut
in
down
a...
all the bridges. And
Yes.
Get out all the tunnels.
That's right, stealing plot lines from Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, one of those about clogging up the tunnels. But what might be good about this might be Chadwick Boseman's turn, seeing him as something other than Black Panther. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of gravitas he'd bring to it. And I don't know. That's 21 Bridges. What do you think, Carlos?
I mean, I love police crime, this type of drama set in New York. You know, that's kind of my thing. As a matter of fact, I saw this movie the other night, Brooklyn's Finest. If you've never seen this movie, watch it. It's really good. It's set in New York and very it's cop related. So yeah, I'm interested to see it. I've heard actually Chadwick Boseman's performance is kind of very
Subdued.
Yeah, just very. The standout for some people were Sienna Miller's role and the supporting cast. So we'll see.
Sienna Miller. I think I remember her last from American Sniper.
That's right.
But I know she's been in some other ones.
Yeah, Factory Girl. Yeah, she was in Layer Cake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, British actress. So she's been in some of those old British movies.
Yeah. What about you, Kazak? What are your initial thoughts about 21 Bridges?
Chadwick Boseman's likable. Seeing him in a Charles Bronson style role doesn't sound unappealing. I think I could probably go in for it. I don't know if I want to pay full price, but it might be worth $1 in an afternoon. So yeah, cop movie's a cop movie. You've seen the formula over and over again. So if he's bringing something new to the role, cool. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now let's take a look at Frozen 2. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they decided this time it's real. No, this is an animated comedy adventure PG film. It's only an hour and 43 minutes, so that's good. It doesn't break the 2-hour mark. The director is Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee, so there's 2 directors on this one. And, of course, the stars Kristen Bell, Josh Gad, Idina Menzel, Alan Tudyk, and Alfred Molina, and Sterling K. Brown. So that's pretty interesting. Frozen 2.
I'm a 50-something-year-old man. This is not for me. If I had kids, maybe I'd take them, but nah. I didn't see the first one. There's a lot of recent Disney movies I haven't seen, so nah.
Yeah, I had to tease Horror Mike. He told me he was going to go see this. I'm like, you're going to go see Frozen 2, Horror Mike? Come on, man. We can't call you Horror
baby?
Mike. And he goes, no, I just love animation, man, because, he's an artist and everything.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, I don't know, man. So, Kazak, Frozen 2, any interest in you?
Yeah, Frozen 1. I watch Frozen 1 because I do have nieces and things like that who are really into the first one. I didn't care for it.
and this one holds no interest. What I think the interesting thing is that the director of this is the new director of creative over at Disney. So
Okay.
that's a big deal.
I heard of that NPR interview with her during the week. Yeah, it's interesting.
So, like I said, it's one to take kids to if you've got kids. You're opening up Thanksgiving weekend. You got nothing to do with them on Black Friday. Don't take them out to the malls. Take them to a movie.
But they could see Playing with Fire,
Take
or
a nice
maybe
nap during the
Last Christmas. Take the girls.
I'm trying to get them to like me. I don't need them going,
uncle.
why did you make me watch John Cena? He's terrible in the ring. Now he's terrible in the movie.
You the one that does this?
No. Yeah, you can't see me. Yeah, you can't see this film.
And the third candidate is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is a biography / drama. It's PG, just like Frozen 2. It's the longest of the three movies this week, but not by much. It's an hour and 48 minutes. The director is Marielle Heller, who you may remember of Diary of a Teenage Girl. Stars Tom Hanks, Matthew Rhys, and Chris Cooper. So, A Beautiful Day, the synopsis here is there's a reporter that was going to go in and do an article on, I'm going to call him Tom Hanks, but not Tom Hanks, but Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, because he doesn't believe that there's a guy that really could be this good. So he's really going in to kind of write a hit piece, from what I understand at first. But instead, this relationship involves as friends. And so we're seeing it through those eyes. Now, my initial thought on this, Carlos, is I just saw Won't You Be My Neighbor last year, a documentary with the real Fred Rogers. So this is coming out a little too close, and I feel like it's not fair, but I'm going to want to compare the two because it's a Mr. Rogers movie. So as good as Tom Hanks is, I mean, sure, but can he really beat the real Fred Rogers and beat Fred Rogers? So what do you think about this?
He said, I heard an interview with Tom Hanks, and said that the only thing they did was did his eyebrows as much as they could look like Fred Rogers and put a wig on him. The rest was just Tom Hanks, not mimicking him, microscopically, but just kind of getting that little cadence and that little
The mannerisms.
the kindness, the gentleness, and just that feeling of Mr. Rogers. So, so Tom Hanks is such a big star that you see him in anything, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm just watching Tom Hanks in a movie.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. I respect his craft, but
Truly.
it's one of those things that's almost like not a gimmick, but it's just Tom Hanks doing Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, Kazak, what are your thoughts?
Well, like I said, the nicest guy in Hollywood doing the nicest guy in the world. I feel that if you saw Won't You Be My Neighbor, there's not a whole lot of need to see this one. But like I said, if you like Mr. Rogers, if you like Tom Hanks, go see it. But, it feels repetitious, I'd say. Go see the actual documentary and see the real guy in action.
I agree.
Particularly, go watch that scene with him talking to Congress.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Strong scenes,
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's the issue here, because what I'm trying to do is avoid the whole, Carlos says always gets my hackles up, is the whole cash grab idea. And I think when that documentary just blew up and everybody was doing it was such a radical idea. Why not cover that guy? And they did it well. And it's almost kind of like, well, wait a minute. If they can do that, if we could get Tom Hanks, we could do the same thing. Yeah, but what story might we go with? Hey, how about we talk about the reporters that were trying to report on him? Maybe there's something there. Oh, we found so. I just don't know that that's compelling enough. So if I'm going to see this film, and this is the term that we have here at Fulfillment, it's called guilt by actor association. I'm going to go see this movie because of actor association, because I do like Tom Hanks, but I'm not going to rush out. I'm not going to see it first weekend. So with that, gentlemen, which movie are you going to go see out of these three? What would be the picks of the week that you would tell our viewers to watch?
For me, 21 Bridges.
21 Bridges, yeah. Okay.
Nice
But-
hour and a half movie, crime, yeah.
Yeah.
Rated R, you said?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Like I said, if I've got a choice, it's going to be 21 Bridges. If I don't have a choice, it's going to wind up being Frozen 2.
There you
Just
go.
saying, I have nieces. That might be what's happening Friday morning.
That's right. You love your nieces to pieces.
Correct.
While eating Reese's Pieces.
Favorite uncle.
Yes, we love you. All this Thanksgiving vibe. For me, I'm going to stick hardly with 21 Bridges because I'd rather see Chadwick Boseman again, since I kind of already know at this point how Tom Hanks would play this role. Because if you've seen him once, you've seen him, and he's great. But at the same time, I just don't know that there's a whole bunch more to work with here. Mm-hmm. You're just being kind and friendly and thinking of others first. And I don't know that that's as compelling. So I would see 21 Bridges first and foremost. And if I did have to go back out again, I'd probably see A Beautiful Day.
You want to know what's funny?
What's funny?
There is an episode of Drunk History
besides Colin,
where they talk about Fred Rogers, and it's played by Colin Hanks.
Oh no,
Colin Hanks plays Fred Rogers.
wow.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And the fact that now we found out this through the internet thing that Tom Hanks is actually related to Fred Rogers.
That's right. Like six cousins or something.
It just goes on and on. So yeah, not a surprise. Anyway, find that episode of Drunk History because it's actually entertaining.
There it is. There's always a footnote somewhere.
Drunk history.
And it's not by your foot. All right, let's go into now our next segment. We're moving right along and keep it moving. That's right. This is the Just Seen It segment. So we're about to tell you now what we have seen, whether it be Netflix or streaming or at the big screen. And we always kick it off with the film Samurai. Carlos, what have you seen?
I've seen a lot of shit, PJ.
Are you getting too old for that same beard?
This shit. No, I've seen some. I've actually seen a lot of stuff, especially on streaming. I've seen some like Man in the High Castle the last season. Was great. But the movie I saw, I'll go with first, is Ford versus Ferrari. James Mangold directed.
Yes.
The story of Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby when Ford Motor Company, and this is the son of Henry Ford or grandson, I can't remember.
Grandson, yeah.
Grandson, where they were basically challenged to compete in the 1966 Le Mans, this 24-hour race in France, where they put a team together and car together and the engines and everything, and they want to compete against Ferrari because they at one point they offered to buy Ferrari because they knew Ferrari was bankrupt, and but it something happened. They ended up not doing it, and then it was almost like an insult. So Ferrari said, "We're going to bury them in the next Le Mans. So we got this amount of time to do it. Carroll Shelby, can you do it? Can you help us put?" And of course, Carroll Shelby went to the best driver he knew, who was Ken Miles. Problem with Ken Miles was he was kind of a hot-headed British guy, and but he was a great driver. So. But he was not a Ford man, he was not the image of.
It wasn't
Ford
buttoned
driver.
up enough.
Yeah. So they were afraid he was going to go off in the press and things like this. So the movie was fantastic. Christian Bale, Matt Damon, the chemistry they had together as Shelby and Miles it was actually funny in some places. I would love to see these two guys work together again. I'm not a great fan of Matt Damon so much, but in this movie, he was good.
Matt Damon.
I'll never forget. Always going to think of that when I hear Matt Damon. And the racing scenes were fantastic.
Yes.
I saw it at the Lick Theater, which has the Dolby Atmos sound, and I wish they had put the volume up even louder because the racing, that GT40 engine.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. A fantastic film. Yeah. Second thing I saw was Honey Boy. Saw it yesterday.
Honey Boy.
Honey Boy. It's directed by Alma Harrell, Har'El.
Okay.
Woman director. It's written by Shia LaBeouf. And this
Shia?
Shia LaBeouf, yeah. It's actually a really powerful, emotional story. It's autobiographical. The characters in the movie are fictional, but you can obviously see it's based on Shia LaBeouf's childhood and adulthood. You can, you hear all the stories of Shia LaBeouf fighting with cops, getting arrested. He's got anger issues, obviously. And in the movie, you can see why. His father was a piece of work. His father was a Vietnam vet. He was alcoholic, divorced parents. He was a child actor. His father took him to set. They lived in a shitty hotel. And
Not the Bates Motel or anything.
No, it was
no.
it was almost like it. Because, it's one of those little motels where it's just a row of rooms, and across there's more people over there, and they're loud, and the kid, was always stressed out. He was trying to do his best. He was, doing little series, little movies, and he was paying his father. So he was the boss. The kid was the boss, and interestingly enough, Noah Jupe, who plays the kid, was the son of Ken Miles in Ford versus Ferrari.
Yes.
This kid's a great actor.
Yes.
So this movie, like I said, there's many scenes, powerful, emotional scenes. Shia LaBeouf plays his own father in the movie.
Oh,
so
wow.
he's playing the father-like version of himself.
So that's catharsis for him, I
but,
bet.
Yeah. So, and even in the movie, they mentioned, Dad, I'm writing a movie about you and us and so forth. So it's kind of like it goes all around. And Lucas Hedges plays the sort of Shia LaBeouf character as an adult. And his voice imitating Shia LaBeouf is actually really good. And he does do that one time. No. Because there's opens with a scene of him in a harness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a giant plane that looks like it's crashed in the background. There's flames going on. And all of a sudden there's an explosion. He goes, no. And he just flies backwards on this. This crane is holding this wire up, and he just flies backwards. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of reset it again, like they're going to shoot it again. So there's all these. It's really interesting, stylized visually. The acting is just great, and Shia LaBeouf in the movie, he's great. I wouldn't be surprised if he got some kind of award recognition for this part. And of course, we'll talk about The Mandalorian. I've been watching it weekly on Disney Plus. I was kind of conflicted. I'm not a big fan of the corporate Disney thing, but I was really wanting to see this show in particular. Jon Favreau created it.
And that's why, because Jon Favreau is awesome, by the way. If you didn't know.
He does a fantastic job with this series. It's you could compare it to it's very Western like.
Good.
The old spaghetti westerns. In fact,
Great.
And even I don't know if you've heard of this series, Lone Wolf and Cub Films.
Yeah.
The samurai who's carrying his baby around, his son.
Mm-hmm.
It's got elements of that. It's very stripped down. The story is very simplistic. It's very predictable. But especially the third episode, I could see everything that was coming, and they kind of give you hints of what's going to happen. And it happens, and when it happens, it is glorious, man. It
Gotcha.
is like
So the payoff is worth it.
I felt like a kid again watching this show, especially the third episode.
Yeah.
The Mandalorians are a race, and it gets into the mythology of the Mandalorians.
Nice.
Man, it is fantastic. I love it. I can't wait to see the next episode. So, yeah, man, that's my just seen it.
Love it. All right, K-Zach, what about you?
All right. I, too, saw The Mandalorian. I think it is a brilliant series. Getting to see, like I said, there's some really decent acting in this because, you have a guy who's doing all of his acting where you can't see his face.
In a helmet
So you're getting just, slight physical acting.
They didn't marvel him out and make him take it off a lot so we could see his facial expressions?
No, not at all. I think you're going to keep it on throughout the whole series. So good on that.
That's the thing.
Yes.
The Mandalorians do not take off their helmets for anybody.
Love it.
You've also got two really great voice performances in this series already. You've got Taika Waititi as IG-88, a droid bounty hunter, which...
IG-11, actually, yeah.
IG-11, sorry, my bad. But, once you see that scene with him as a bounty hunter, it's so brilliant.
It's so
in fact,
great.
that we even did a takeoff on it on our Rancor Pit episode. So all
Look at that.
And also you got Nick Nolte
Yes.
doing the... holy cow.
I have spoken.
It makes you feel like a kid again. It makes me feel like a Star Wars fan again.
Yes.
Because in
Absolutely.
90 minutes, they've totally made you enjoy Star Wars again. And say what you
Nice.
will about the Disney corporate thing.
Oh, we will say it.
Say what you will. they really put a lot of love and thought into this. John Favreau really pulled this off. I cannot wait to see the rest of the series. And I have been enjoying my Disney Plus because I've been going back and finding the stuff that I really dug as a kid. I've been really, kind of digging through those records, finding, exactly the movies that I dug, even as a cynic, even as a cynical kid. I really enjoyed it.
A Disney flag waiver. Oh no. No, just kidding.
I also want to introduce a new segment here in Fulfillment. It's called Direct from the Dustbin because while these guys watch good films, I watch terrible films. Two that
Ain't that the truth?
Two that I saw since the last time I saw you. First, I went to the Alamo and saw Night of the Comet. That's right. Valley Girl meets the Omega Man.
I love that.
The girlfriend from The Last Starfighter and the last girl from Chopping Mall has sisters navigating their way through a post-apocalyptic L.A. And when the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. And trust me, it is a brilliant zombie film, apocalypse film.
So it's Charlie's Angels 3.
It's everyone who went to see Charlie's Angels 3, which was no one. The other film I saw this week is another zombie film. This one was Dead Heat, starring Treat Williams and a newly buffed Joe Piscopo. The kills in this one are a thing of beauty. The makeup is amazing. The lines are kind of pitch perfect. I mean, basically, it was just one of those tail end of the 80s just movies they made to make money on DVD. It was just one of those films that you saw on cable over and over again. But, I mean, the makeup on it is brilliant. It's last performances from, I believe, both Vincent Price and the last performance from Darren McGavin.
Wow.
Really a fun zombie film with a lot of good makeup effects and all practical. So, like I said, you can find that one on Tubi. You can find Night of the Comet, I believe, on Shout Factory. So,
nice.
So there you go.
Nice. Love it. So I spent my time watching Ford versus Ferrari as well. So, and Carlos knows, big car guy over here, big Mopar guy, but Ford would be my second best favorite car. This movie is incredible. This is a movie I will tell you that you do need to go see in the zooted out theater room, because the sound stage, the way James Mangold, and you know him from Logan, 310 to Yuma, he captures the sound stage here of what these cars sound like. As you know, as a car enthusiast, a Ford sounds differently than even a Mopar or even a Chevy, by the way it rumbles. And there's something about listening to a throaty throttle of a car. So now if it's on a sound stage that has 9 or 10 speakers and the sound moves from right to left, backwards, forwards, that's set up if you know what you're doing, and James Mangold knows exactly how to record the sound. Every time the racers threw the gear in from second to third, you felt yourself wanting to shift the gear too as you hear the whine of the engine. And you can hear the difference between the Ferrari engine and the Ford GT40 engine. And so the cut back and forth between the two racers where it's against the wheels, man and machine together against another man and machine on this track. So the interesting thing is, if you think, it's going to be a boring car movie, no, this is the Le Mans. This is a 24-hour race, which you're going to race in the daytime, at night, daytime in the rain, nighttime in the rain, and you've got people crashing because it's raced on a French street, much like the Tour de France every year, where they're just streets that have been blocked off with hay bales on it. That's exactly Le Mans. So this wasn't like Daytona, where you had these nice campers and turns that you could take easy turns. This is going 200 miles an hour down a straight and then having to slam and get gear down to go through a hairpin turn where you need to go 30 to gear up again, go through an S, and then do this whole thing again.
And they even show the detail, the brakes, how they light up bright red.
Yes. That was brilliant. Yes, the eye cannon, that was perfect. And so when you're racing, the interesting thing is you go, well, why it's not interesting when you go to a race probably is because you're sitting outside of the car watching guys go around 400 laps to the left. And that's even a joke that Matt Damon makes. But here, James Mangold understands, I need to put you inside the car. I need you to see the setup of the car so you don't think this is just like your car. It's different. And so these brakes especially at the Le Mans, have to be super, super solid because they're going to get mashed on several times. So the Le Mans is only 8.5 miles, but they're going to do about 400 to 500 laps day, night, whatever the weather is. So if your car, it's not that your car has got to be fast. Your car also has to be very durable at high speeds and at high braking speeds where the heat is ridiculous on those front tires. And the way they chose to show that without making it like whatever was great. I would say another thing I really enjoyed about the film is that they didn't try to go away too far from the field by doing this big love story or anything like that at all. They just stuck with, here's this relationship between a celebrity Texan. Carroll Shelby's from Texas. He was raised 130 miles east here of Dallas. Okay, this guy was one of the only Americans to win the Le Mans in 1959, driving an Aston Martin.
Himself, yeah.
So, but because he has a heart condition, he can't continue to drive, and that's why he leans on Ken Miles. And this is stuff you can just look up beforehand. But I would say don't read the story on it beforehand. Just go so you can be surprised. But a lot of what happens in the movie is actually pretty accurate, and there's maybe only 3 or 4 scenes that were kind of added in there just to make the movie more well-rounded in other areas. But if you're not a car fan, don't worry about it. This you will still get into the performances.
Yes.
Because
Great cast.
oh my gosh, Ken Miles, for Christian Bale to lose all that weight once again, because Ken Miles was a tall, gaunt fellow, right? And just to play him with the temerity that he did, and then Matt Damon actually just playing the Texan, because we can tell a fake Texas accent.
Did you notice the very first accent when you hear the you just hear him talking? It sounds like he's doing an imitation of Jeff Bridges in True Grit. Has that real twangy accent.
Yeah.
Southern accent, but then he never used it really again in that particular accent in the rest of the movie for some reason. Maybe it was him as a very old man, just kind of introducing the story.
Yeah, so this movie has a lot of intrigue because there's this relationship between these 2 guys who are just both smart engineering racer type guys. They know how to work and build engines. Then you have the tension between Ford Motor Company and Ferrari, and then the tension in-house between Ford Motor Company and the drivers. So you have all these other little subplots in it to keep this interesting. If there was a negative to the film, I think there's probably about 3 scenes that they could have cut out because the runtime is a little bit long. Not a lot.
Didn't feel long
but
to
a
me,
little
but
bit.
Yeah,
there's a couple
long
scenes.
movie, minute-wise, yeah.
But other than that, Ford versus Ferrari is a winner. It deserves all the money that it's getting. If you were freaking out thinking, oh, it's a car movie, no, they make it human. And then from there, you'll understand.
They make the car human?
Yes, absolutely.
It's Turbotine, huh?
Hey, they did it with Herbie the Love Bug.
Gotta
No, I'm
pay
just
fine.
kidding. But much faster than Herbie the Love Bug, this one. So that is just seen it for us. So now let's get into that segment that everybody's watching for as well as this. And there's my double scratch. We're going to talk about now for the last few moments of the show. We're going to talk about the cinematic moments that we're the most grateful for. So let's do it again. Film Samurai, kick it off for us.
Start off. Okay. For me, I didn't pick so much cinematic moments per se, but my first one I'm going to go with is I'm thankful for that Rian Johnson didn't do Rise of Skywalker.
Roundhead?
Like I don't know if JJ is going to be any better
Right.
after Rian Johnson pretty much ruined everything, but ruined Johnson, yeah. So yeah, that's my first one. So,
Burn,
that's all I got
burn.
to say about that. Go ahead. Who's next?
K-Zach, give us one real quick.
All right. So there are a lot of fight scenes that you can be grateful for. At every Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, every Bruce Lee film. But if I'm going to pick a fight scene that I'm absolutely thankful for, it is the scene between Bruce Campbell, Ash Williams, and himself when he fights his own hand.
Yes.
It is quite possibly one of the most brilliant fight scenes because you can fight another guy, but to fight yourself,
Your own hand.
having yourself smash plates over your own head, taking you 360 degrees over, when the scene where you wind up stabbing your own hand and cutting it off with a chainsaw. Sorry, kids, spoilers. It is the most insanely
put together yet almost well done film. If you've never been a horror comedy fan, you will be after this one, because I promise you, it is a brilliant piece of physical comedy.
That's right. Better than a stick in the eye or shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, those happen too, but those are another parts of the film. Literally, those are in other parts of the film.
I love it. How about that?
But Evil Dead 2, that fight scene. I mean, you can say what you will about physical comedians, but Bruce Campbell really pulls that scene off with conviction.
I love it, and
it's a brilliant fight.
I would say that's awesome. I love that scene, and I'm glad you helped me remember that again. So that is hilarious. I would say a cinematic moment or something that I'm very grateful for that happened in movies was something that didn't happen. I'm glad that there was never a sequel to Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Thank God.
That's awesome. So that you don't have to deal with that again.
Was there ever a chance of that ever happening?
Well, they did some other sequels. I was like, did we really need that sequel? So I'm glad they didn't decide to revamp it, give her a new hairdo or something, and just throw her back out there.
Her brilliant Julia Roberts as Halle Berry as Catwoman.
Oh, God.
No. Shoot me in the face.
We'll be like Catwoman Part 2, cloned. Claws cloned. No, thank you. Samurai, another one?
All right. I'm thankful for Netflix in general, but mostly Netflix original films. Man, they've had a lot of shit. But on the other hand, they've had some really brilliant films, and from very respected and very good filmmakers. The Irishman, Martin Scorsese's latest, was fantastic. Inarritu's Roma. Other films like Mudbound, Dolomite Is My Name is a brilliant film.
Battle of the Buster Scruggs was fun.
Yes, I was going to mention that one. The Coen brothers. That's a hilarious film.
Yeah, but then you've got everything. Adam
Beast
Sandler.
of No Nation, the Idris Elba lead in that. That's a heavy film, and
Wow.
I'm glad Netflix made it available for everybody to see. So
Yeah.
I love that, and they've got some stuff coming out too. Marriage Story, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. It's been getting rave reviews. This movie sounds interesting. With The Two Popes with Anthony Hopkins. And the actor who's in Brazil, the lead actor, I can't think of his name right now. But it looks. I saw the trailer for it. And it looks really, really good. So yeah, that's it. And I'm thankful for Netflix.
Awesome. Zach, another one?
All right, so my next one, like I said, no one gives a lot of credit to the art of the title sequence. With the, but two that I wanted to kind of highlight here are ones that drew me in from moment one. First of all, the title sequence from Zombieland.
Yes.
Beautifully choreographed, slow kill zombie sequence, all the way that not only do you have the kills going right through the credits as they roll, but it's a perfectly choreographed segment done to For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica, which was absolutely a perfect choice for this film. And when you watch the opening moments of this sequence, it really kind of, again, lets you know what kind of film you're in for.
Yeah.
Because not
I remember
only is
seeing
it
that for the
horribly
first time.
violent, it's also brilliantly done. Just because, again, I love horror comedy, so that. The other one that I wanted to give kudos to is the opening credits for Deadpool 2. There are no names in this. It's just basically breaking the fourth wall and telling you exactly what you're in for, which is directed by an overpaid tool, a guy who thinks he's God's gift to movies, and just it goes on and on. Inside jokes throughout the whole thing. Not taking itself seriously and letting you know that you're in for a hell of a ride with this jackass.
Yes.
But yeah, no one gives. There should be a lot of love for the art of the title, and these two films really kind of highlight that.
The art of the title for me would be like 7. That opening credits was 7.
Yeah.
That's great. That Nine Inch Nails soundtrack behind
totally.
it. Yeah,
Going off.
scratchy
Yeah.
sound and stuff. Yeah, I love that.
See, I like that as well. So I'll tell you another one that I'm thankful for is Black Panther showing up in Civil War. I had been waiting since Wesley Snipes originally had the script for Black Panther to do one back in '92. So I've been waiting a long time to see a Black Panther film. And then I was worried that they would mess him up, make him all jokey, because in Marvel's Cinematic Universe, you have to be jokey. So all of a sudden, Thor, Star-Lord, Iron Man, everybody's just jokey, joke. So, but no, he wasn't. He was just what he was supposed to be. This very serious Panther who stalks, comes after you, is very smart. He's not just guessing and gambling. He's been after you for a while. He's been watching you, and so his viciousness when he comes on and he attacks Winter Soldier because he thinks Winter Soldier killed his dad and all that stuff. I was like, yes, this was the best I could ever imagine. Black Panther, and seeing him for the very first time on the big silver screen, and with Chadwick Boseman, an actor who I like because he had just done before that the biopic for James Brown, did a great job at that. And there were a couple of others. He was in 42. He did Jackie Robinson and did a great job at that. So I respected that. But once Civil War showed up and they didn't punk him out, they didn't make him a joke. He wasn't a jokester. They kept him true to form. And then his fighting skills and then them showing off his claws and everything. And that scene at the very end of that movie with him and Zemo talking, I thought took that to a whole other level, because usually you don't see the two reconciling right before the end, or usually the bad guy's telling the good guy, well, here's how I end you. But here it was Zemo saying, I feel sorry that I had to do that to your dad. He seemed like he was a good man. You seemed like a good son. And then he was about to just take his head off anyway, and Black Panther had to stop him because, no, you're going to go to jail. That's too easy to go out that way. So that was it was just more than I could ever expected. So I'm so thankful for Black Panther showing up in Civil War and then later on getting his own movie.
It's awesome. I love it.
What else are you thankful for, Carlos?
All right. Although I'm a fan of horror films in general. Yeah, horror gets a kind of a bad rap because a lot of horror films are low budget. Quality is iffy.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, some people really appreciate that type of horror film. But
Hi there.
For me, I'm thankful for the well-crafted, what I call art house horror. Some people call it elevated horror. Yeah. Films like The Babadook, Midsummer, Hereditary, The Witch, Autopsy of Jane Doe, some recent ones. These are very well-crafted, well-made films with brilliant acting, brilliant stories telling, and creepy as hell. I really appreciate these kind of films, and I'm glad they're kind of getting now respected and recognized.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, going back into classics, you've got Wicker Man, you've got you've got Eraserhead, you've got
Don't Look Now, some of those old 70s.
the Klaus Kinski Nosferatu.
Yes.
Like I said, horror, like I said, can be elevated. Eyes Without a Face is just a brilliantly dark film. Not all horror has to be cheesy and terrible.
Truly.
I mean, these films should really disturb you.
Yep.
I mean, even go recently as The Lighthouse, and you
Yes.
see exactly what horror can be. So, yeah, totally.
And you're thankful for what else, Zach?
All right. For me, my next one here, two opening sequences that I wanted to highlight. The first is that, like I said, I'm a cynical guy. I'm a cynical guy when it comes to film. I'm a cynical guy when it comes to most animation these days. But I will say that I have never seen anything more perfect in cinema than the opening 15 minutes of Up. It is a complete story where you get drawn in and you go from laughter to tears in 15 minutes. The rest of the film is completely disposable garbage. It just is. But that first 15 minutes is not only what makes Disney films, like I said, such heartbreakers, but also, like I said, it's good cinema.
And it's no dialogue, right?
Right. There's no dialogue. It's just
storytelling, visual storytelling.
It goes from two kids to, like I said, two folks going through an entire life cycle, and it is brilliantly done. The other opening sequence that I am thankful for is, like I said, I am
thankful for the opening driving sequence in Baby Driver. Like I said, you guys are car guys. I'm a visual guy, and like I said, when it has a great soundtrack, like you rock into that John Spencer Blues Explosion with bell bottoms, and it just goes from there, because that song was actually the inspiration for that opening 15-minute sequence. And I mean, it is beautifully shot, beautifully done. You've got the guy who directed Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. His name is escaping me.
Edgar Wright.
Edgar
Yeah,
Wright.
he's
Thank
a great
you.
filmmaker. Even his old spaced TV series.
Yeah.
If you've never seen that, watch it, man. It's
But like I
fantastic.
said, like I said, it has a great title sequence right after this driving sequence. But I mean, it's just two really beautifully beautifully put together pieces of film. Like I said, that when you watch it, you're really drawn in. Like I said, this one doesn't take you in the car. This one takes you into the mindset of everyone in there. So it really is a beautiful ride, captured on film.
There it is, and I would say I'm thankful for the last 5 minutes of Rogue One. Out of all the Disney Star Wars films, this is the only one that I really like. And really, the first hour and a half is kind of boring in Rogue One to me. But that whole third act is great, and the fight scene, everything. But Darth Vader showing up. We finally get to see Darth Vader at his peak versus him before his peak, and then him obviously afterwards when the son has to take over for him. But we get to see him at his absolute villainous, and just the way that scene was captured in the dark. It was almost horror theme scary in that sense.
That red lightsaber.
The red lightsaber just comes out nice and slow, and then he's just having
the
his
terror on
way.
those guys' faces.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine yourself as one of the rebels just sitting there going, what the hell? Like, this is the worst thing from your nightmare, and you're looking at it.
Yeah.
But you got to protect these plans, and you got to make sure these plans get out of there. So that tension there. But that scene, you could have just made the movie just mostly that, and I'd have just been super excited about it, because I just certainly didn't care for all the other characters.
Again, it's what reminds you what made you a fan of Star Wars in the first place.
Yes.
That stuff.
That's exactly what it is. So I'm very thankful that we got that scene for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's hard to follow, but I'll try. I'm thankful for Film Twitter. Film Twitter, I got an amazing people that I follow on Twitter. These are hardcore movie fans. These people love film. I found out about so many films through Film Twitter. People just writing about them, tweeting about them. There's a lot of bloggers on there. But these people are passionate about films. There's super hardcore horror fans, people that love historical films, or any kind of film you are into. There's somebody out there that likes it, and I'll tweet about films, and I get replies back and interactions, and it's great. I actually met some of these people in real life.
Awesome.
Always really just super amazing people. So yeah, I love it. I enjoy my time on Twitter, just interacting with some of these people. They're great.
Way to go, Film Twitter. Okay, Zach, another thing you're grateful for.
All right. So, like I said, I like comic book movies. I like violent films, and it doesn't get any more enjoyable than every single death in Sin City. You have, because when you have, you can have death sequences, but when you have them when they're really, really satisfying, and you want to see these people go, everything from Elijah, that yellow bastard, Elijah Wood, Kevin, Rutger Hauer as the priest, even Alexis Waddell. Going out with the hitman, and every single death in that film goes above and beyond. Like I said, anything you'd ever seen in a comic book movie, anything you'd seen in a black and white horror film, because of the contrast of color, it doesn't shy away from it. But also, like I said, it really kind of brings you in to that universe, and it becomes visceral, and it becomes tense, and it becomes something that if you've never seen that movie, or if you watch it again and again, it really just, when you look at the detail, when you look at the level of acting that goes into it, the visual storytelling that Robert Rodriguez does with that film, it really is a satisfying comic book movie. No bones about it. It really is just a gorgeous piece of film of comic book history. And of course, like I said, if you dig horror and you dig gore and you dig shock, every single death in there is coming for you.
Yes, all three phases of the game coming down for you. Another scene, or I guess another part of cinema that I'm also very thankful for that I got to watch is in one of my favorite movies of all time. It's easily in the top 5 all time for me, and then that's Hell or High Water. And there's a scene in this movie where, if you haven't seen Hell or High Water, it has a lot of humor in it, but the humor is sarcasm. And if you love sarcasm, this has got to be one of the greatest scenes ever. So here you are in this West Texas town, and you got these 2 Texas Rangers trying to follow and find these bank robbers, and they go into this little podunk steakhouse where the waitress is just as mean as rattlesnakes, is what they call her afterwards. Because when she walks up, her whole thing is, "So what don't you want?" In most places you go to, it's like, "So what will you have today?" And you tell them all this stuff. Not her. She walks up with her pad. She just strolls up to the table very casually in her elderly walk. "So what don't you want?" And they're looking at each other like, "What the hell?" Because in this diner, there's really not a whole lot of options. It's just, you just tell them what you don't want, and they know what you want. And just that whole scene of them doing that. I think at the end, he was about to ask for an unsweetened tea, and he was like, "Oh, no, we're good." Because he was so demoralized by just her sarcasm.
And we've all been in that diner, too.
And these are Texas Rangers, and
Yes.
these are the baddest of the bad.
Yes.
Dudes, and they are frightened by this.
They were frightened by this elderly lady who's the waitress who's taking the order, and they make this funny quip afterwards. They go, "Well, we know one thing for sure: nobody's going to rob this place." And that scene is gold. So if you go see the movie's great. But if you can find that scene, watch. It's one of the greatest moments of sarcasm ever.
And if you've been in Texas, like we are, we've all been in that diner. We've all talked to that waitress.
Yes, we have.
And all you can say is, "Yes, ma'am."
Yes, ma'am. Carlos.
Okay, my last one. I'm thankful for the career of Martin Scorsese.
No,
Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite filmmakers, and even from the beginning, I rediscovered, I kind of watched some of his early films. You know, I've seen Mean Streets before, but I rewatched it recently, and that film still holds up to this day. And I found even one of his earliest films, Who's That Knocking at My Door? Harvey Keitel. Brilliant old black and white film. You can tell already that Martin Scorsese's just got a command of cinema and storytelling. So his whole career, you know, some of the greatest films, Taxi Driver, you know.
Yeah,
He even makes, you know, documentaries, one of the greatest concert films, The Last Waltz, about the band. Fantastic film. Raging Bull, you know, Goodfellas, his collaboration with De Niro on many of these films, Casino, and his more recent films, The Departed, Shutter Island, Wolf of Wall Street, you know, finally got Leonardo DiCaprio some recognition, and up till The Irishman, which I think is, you know, I hate to throw the word masterpiece around, but I mean, I won't say it's a masterpiece, but I think it's one of his finest films, and so a career that's even, you know, with controversy in it, you know, The Last Temptation of Christ, he's done it all, and and not only his filmmaking, but also his love of and appreciation of cinema itself.
Yes.
He's done work with preservation societies, saving these old films. He prefers to shoot on film versus digital. You know, he's old school, and I appreciate the guy very much. And he's got a like a photographic memory. He can rattle off some of his favorite films, and if you watch interviews with him, they're fantastic. If you want to find out about good movies, just watch any interview with him, and he'll rattle off, okay, I love this movie and this movie and this movie, and you watch those movies, they're all great. There's not much more I could say about the guy. He's just a great filmmaker.
That's awesome. That's good. Okay, Zach.
All right, so I am thankful for films that I don't see coming, because
Yeah. Yeah.
as film guys, we've seen everything.
Yep.
We know every actor, we know every beat, we know
The
every,
tropes.
we know what tropes. So when you get a film that you don't see coming, when you get an end that you don't see coming, when you get a cameo you don't see coming, when you get a moment that you don't see coming, you're grateful for it. And the
Yes.
one that I wanted to highlight on this one was The Usual Suspects. A masterful bit of storytelling and building
Yes.
up to, like I said, a tense showdown. You've got tense showdowns throughout the whole thing, but when you get to the end and the whole thing unravels and you see that that unveil of Kaiser Soze, you're not only taken aback, and when you watch the film again, because you go back and watch it again, you figure out how you got taken, and you're grateful for the experience because, like, oh wow, all of this comes together in one fell swoop. And again, you can say what you want about Kevin Spacey because the guy's not a good man. He was a phenomenal actor, and in this film, he really
Or Bryan Singer, for that matter.
Exactly.
Sure.
It's a really bit of masterful storytelling, and it sucks you in throughout the whole thing. You never see it coming, and it's not only an end that you don't see coming, it's also the twist that you don't see coming, the acting point that you don't see coming. It's a beautiful piece, if you've never seen it, to get drawn in and be taken by a film.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think that's one of the first movies I ever saw where people stood up and applauded at the end of it.
Really? Wow.
In the theater. Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And I'll say finally, the another moment that I was absolutely grateful for was in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which, by the way, that trilogy is one of the better trilogies out there after Star Wars. If you're wondering what are the three great movies where they were able to pull off together, don't sleep on the Planet of the Apes. They're all pretty solid.
Yeah, really solid director.
And I think the second one is the best one, which is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is just like Star Wars, where Empire Strikes Back's considered the second best, or the best, even though it was second in terms of installment. But this one's Koba, and so here's the thing about this. People are afraid of clowns. I'm not afraid of clowns. I'll punch you in the face, Ronald McDonald. Where are you? But monkeys scare the crap out of me because they're super strong.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't think it. And so in this film, the villain, we talked about villains, and I think Kazak talked about villains earlier, to have a villain be, essentially, he's the Joker of the chimpanzees. And so when you see him in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where he walks up on the humans and he plays the dumb monkey role, like he's flipping around and playing the clown version for them. They think, oh, look at the monkey. And they think he's nothing, and he's pretending, he's pulling them in. He's pretending like he just wants something to eat and something to drink. And then as soon as they let their guard down, takes the gun from them and them up. And I was just like, whoa. And like you talk about Taken, I wasn't expecting to see that kind of viciousness in a Planet of the Apes movie done that way. Like, we knew they hated the humans, and Koba did, because of what was done to him as a test animal in one of the cages. But his cunning to say, I'm going to come right up in here, make y'all think I'm that dumb animal that you think I am, and then right when I get your defenses lowered, I'm going to open up Blitzkrieg on you. I was floored when I saw that scene. And I was just like, you know what? I forget him a lot, but that's one of the great movie villains right there.
Played by Tony Kebbell, who's one of
Played by Tony Kebbell, that's right. Motion capture, right? And so,
British actor. Yeah, he's
if you want to see a villain, if you want to see something unexpected, if you want to see just someone come in and you can see how someone can be tempted away by their own bias of what they think of something and have it used against them and brutally, and he does this the whole film. Yeah, and Toby
he was
Kebbell's
a formidable opponent for Caesar, for sure.
Yes, he was. And when he
Caesar
took,
was like Batman, and he was the Joker, right?
yes, he was. And you feared him, and people feared him as well. So, yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes I just couldn't forget out of all the different movies I've seen. So that's what I'm thankful for. So at this time, gentlemen, those are great thankfuls. I'm sure you out there have yours. Go ahead and comment. Put in the comment section below what were some of the things you were grateful for in a movie. It doesn't have to just be this year. Anytime that you sat down and watched a movie or streamed it or went to the theater, let us know what are some of the boss moments for you that you were so glad that you got to see. And to that, let's head to the shout outs. Who you shouting out?
I'm going to shout out to my son, Matt. He visited me last week, and we got to go see Ford versus Ferrari together.
Hey, Matt.
Good father and son film. Perfect.
Yes.
And actually went to see Terminator as well.
Nice.
Dark Fate. My daughter, Nicole, she's in Austin. She's a film lover like me. I love to. She texts me every once in a while, Dad, I want to. Is there anything good on Netflix lately? I said, no, I'll send her a list of films to watch, and yeah, she'll watch them. And got a couple of cousins out in California, Joelle and Stella. They always watch. And Mad Mel, one of my
Love it. That's
favorite
awesome.
people.
K-Zach, for you?
Come to me last on this one. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll give me last. All right, so for me, I still want to shout out to Daniel Meza, who's been watching and following. We appreciate those views, and he also shares it. So, by the way, if you like this, please share it. We can get this out there to everybody. We'd love to be able to do things like giveaways and stuff like that, but we got to build that audience first. So, Michael Paul's also watching. I also want to give a shout out to Mad Mel, because she does comment on the videos and says things about the video as well. Mark G., Eddie Medina, and really all the guys with the Rancor Pit. I was on their show, Hey Kids Comics. They asked me to be on there, so I wanted to give them a shout out. Found out that they actually watched the show as well, so that's awesome.
Nice.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And then, of course, Stephanie Crane, who usually watches us live, wanted to give her that shout out as well. And now, K-Zach?
All right. I do need to go ahead and shout out the owners of Dallas On Air. That is Jansen Ring and Catherine Chensky. This year, as they do every year, they're doing what's called a Very Spidey Christmas. Very Spidey Christmas. You can donate to this. What this is that Kat and Jansen dress up like Spider-Man and Spider-Girl, go out into underprivileged neighborhoods in Dallas and just hand out toys on Christmas morning.
Awesome.
You can get involved with this. If you want to donate toys, contact the station and say, hey, I've got something to give, and they'll tell you how to do that. Or you can donate funds to making this happen. The link is right there at the bottom, www.gofundme.com /Have a Very Spidey Christmas 2019. You can see it there. There you can donate cash to making this happen. Basically, you're giving Christmas to poor kids in Dallas. I know that a lot of neighborhoods were ravaged by tornadoes earlier this year. A lot of, like I said, places just need a little Christmas. So help Spider-Man get out into the community. Help them give out toys this year. A Very Spidey Christmas 2019. Help our station give some very special kids a wonderful Christmas. Thank you.
All right. Well, our next episode, December 8th, we will have this recorded and put out on YouTube. So if you've missed this live showing, we will have it there. And, of course, you can also see it on the Vegabomber page. So where can they find you, Film Samurai?
At Film Samurai on Twitter and Facebook. Carlos Salinas on Facebook.
K-Zach?
You can find me here every Sunday right here on DallasOnAir.com. As part of our Talk Nerdy to Me Sunday lineup, you can catch me on the Rant Quarter Pit. You can catch me on Figments, the Unexplained Mysteries podcast. You can also catch me on Isle of Toys, and you'll be able to catch me right here on the show after this, The Vortex of Doom, your laugh track to the apocalypse, right here on DallasOnAir.com.
That's right, and I'm the Vegabomber. You can find me on Vegabomber on YouTube, Vegabomber on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also Vegabomber. And next show will be December 8th, so until then, keep watching movies. And yo, K-Zach, kick that music!
Sayonara!
This is DallasOnAir.com.